Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about why you don't see very many older men with young woman relationships. Like, let's say you go downtown or you go to a mall where there's lots of people. Why don't you see a lot of guys that are 30, 40, 50 with women that are 18 to 25? You rarely see this, right? You rarely see like a large age gap difference between the woman and the guy, which would lead you to believe that maybe like older guys just aren't very attractive to young women in that age group, 18 to 25. And I've considered this. I've considered maybe that's the case. Maybe they just don't, find them as attractive enough. And I know for a fact, with the experience that I have, that yes, once there's like an over 10-year age difference, there tends to be a little bit of embarrassment about dating a much older man. So from their friends and family, they try to downplay it like, oh, he's not that old, he's only this old. They'll lie about his age to make it more socially acceptable. So, yes, like peer pressure and like social status does play a big part in their decision to, consider a guy as a boyfriend in a relationship with a guy because they're worried about like what their friends will think, what their family will think. It plays a big part. But I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think, like everything else in the dating world, it boils down to exposure. The reason why you see young women with young guys is because they're exposed to each other the majority of the time. Think about this logically. How much time do you think a woman, let's say 18 to 25, spends around men that are 30 to 50 years old, 30 to 60 years old? How much time do they ever interact? Do they ever interact? At their workplace, at their school, on the way, like their daily routine, are they ever really exposed to these men of these age groups? No, they're always going to be exposed to men of their similar age, 18 to 25, maybe 18 to 30. That's about the max you'll get, the age range that these women will be exposed to at their school, at their work. So this is why you see so many of these relationships, and you rarely see like the large age gap relationships that you would expect. Some guys will say that, oh, it's just that, older guys are less attractive. But when you get down to the numbers of it, there's about the same amount of attractive older guys as there is attractive younger guys. And we're going to completely discount all the average men out there because let's face it, it's going to be a struggle for every average man in every age group. 18 to 30, you look average, you're going to struggle. Same thing with, 30 and above. If you look average, you're going to struggle. Okay, so this is why I don't really put too much stock in the whole like attractiveness factor of it, because there's probably just as many really attractive older men as there is really attractive younger men. Because like you put your effort into your appearance, it's gonna show. And most guys don't. Let's just face it. Whether you're young or old, they don't really put a lot of effort in, and the guys that do look good. And it's about the same amount of numbers when you think of it in percentages. Attractive young guys versus attractive old guys, it's probably this pretty similar in terms of percentages. So I don't think it's like any kind of attractiveness thing either. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of older men that let themselves go and just really don't look attractive, but there's a ton of young guys out there doing the exact same thing. So I don't think there's a whole lot of stock put into that. Again, I think it all boils down to your exposure to these women. And I myself included, and guys that I know that are older and attractive, once they put themselves around young women, it's only a matter of time before they, have dates, have relationships, have whatever they want with them. Okay. But the trick is exposure. And I remember the one time, like, my buddy from high school that I talked to, like, went back to my hometown and talked to him for a bit. And I had like an 18-year-old girlfriend. And he was like, how did you even meet her? Like a smart guy would think, like, what even brings you like together? Like, that's how people meet, right? Like, that's the first step in the whole process. And of course, I met her on the bus when I was taking transit to work. That's how I met her. So that's really why you rarely see older men with young, attractive women, is because the exposure just isn't there. Unless you're a guy that talks to like young women on the street, on the bus, wherever he goes, at the gym, on campus, like it's never going to happen for you. Or unless you do online dating and your pictures look really good, like it's never going to happen. You're never going to have access to these women in these age groups. You're always going to be, exposed to different age groups. Let's just say that. Your exposure to women is the biggest factor in your dating success, bar none, more important than anything else. The greater your exposure, the easier everything is. So, this is why, yeah, if you're an older guy, you don't do online dating because you think it's beneath you, or you don't like message women that are below a certain age. Like, you're never going to be exposed to them. If you don't cold approach, you're never going to be exposed to them. Of course, this is why you don't see very many, dramatic age differences in, the couples that you see walking down the street or at the mall or at the wherever in public. So don't get it twisted and think that like, oh, like young women only want young guys. They only want young, youthful guys. Not the case. Sure, there's going to be some women out there, some women in the 18 to 25 years age group that are only interested in guys their age or a little bit older. But there is still a ton of women that are open to dating and getting in relationships with guys that are much older, as long as they look good. I mean, it all starts, in physical attraction, anyways. But again, it's not like you have to look like you're 25 or look like you're 20 again. Not the case. There's some women that are going to be like that, but a lot of women are going to be more attracted to the more mature guy, anyways, because it's even more polarizing. There's usually a feminine, masculine, feminine polarity that goes on. And the older a guy gets, typically the more masculine he gets, the more sure of himself he gets, the more experience he builds. Just getting older makes you more masculine. There is advantages to being the older guy in terms of like experience, which is super attractive to women as well. But again, it all starts with looks. Like, this is the number one thing. This is what really gets the ball rolling before anything else, is the physical attraction. So we can't neglect that. But again, once you have like your looks handled, the most important part is getting exposure. Okay, and whether you do that through a dating app, which is pretty easy. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could lie on the dating app and put your age at, 30, put your age at 25, whatever it is, just so women can actually see you. Because if you don't put your age lower, chances are you're never even going to be seen. A woman's never even going to look at you. So yes, sometimes you may have to like adjust your age so the women that you're after, the younger demographic, actually sees you. You're actually exposed to them. Otherwise, you're invisible. You put yourself at, 38, 40, 45, 50. Chances are she probably doesn't have her setting set that old, so she never lays eyes on you, doesn't even know you exist. And which is why, unless a woman's specifically looking for older men, you will have no shot. So yes, you can play around with this and see what works best for you, see what gets you more traction in the whole online dating sphere. If you put your age at like 27 or whatever, again, this is something to just get the ball rolling. As long as you don't manipulate your pictures so much that you look completely different in person, it'll be fine. They go off what they see. That's what all dating apps are. So, yes, play with the numbers so you actually get exposed to these women. And this is why you don't see very many of these relationships. No guy, essentially, very few men ever cold approach a woman, ever start a conversation with women that, that are not in their environment, that are not, they don't go to their work. Yeah. So unless you work with women, let's say you're an older guy, let's say you're a manager at a restaurant. Yes, you will have access to like all the waitresses and things like that, but again, it gets a little, you got to be careful in those situations because you're the boss dating your employees or dating your fellow employees, so things can get a little hairy that way. But that's how a lot of these relationships happen. When you see them, older guy with young women, it's usually because of work. It's usually some sort of work relation, how they met. But again, if you can cold approach, you can have that same access. That is how I did it. That's how I do it most of the time. Most of the things is just like, yeah, either online or cold approach. And I don't care, like, oh, is she too young for me? Doesn't matter. I just start a conversation and see what happens. And yes, I don't know, I've kind of, most of my like cold approaches, because like the places that I only meet women these days is pretty much at the gym. And women check you out, like young, old, all of them. All of them will check you out if you're, you look good and they're interested. This is what really started to like make me second guess the whole like, oh, it's just because of attraction. Like all the older guys are just too old. I see plenty of, good looking older men out there, but they're rarely with very young women. And that's simply because they're never going to cold approach. Chances are their dating app sucks. Their whole online dating process sucks. So they're never going to have access to these women online either. So of course they're going to be left with, older women that, with a lot of extra baggage. So yes, this is why like you'll see most of the time couples that are similar age. And rarely will you see the young woman with the older guy. And most of those cases, it was like because of some sort of work relationship. Okay, but you can skip all that. You don't have to worry about, oh, I have to like work with these women in order to have a shot with them. No, you can actually skip all that and just talk to them in person. But again, you have to put yourself around them first. Transit was very easy for me. That's where I met a lot of young girlfriends when I took transit. See them all the time. They're all riding the bus. That's how they get to school, university, work, and everything like that. So it was easy. Another thing is, like, yeah, the gym. The gym is a place where, oh, you shouldn't hit on girls at the gym. It's such a waste of time. You should be there to work out. Complete bunk. It takes like 2 seconds to talk to a girl, get a date, get a number, and you're set. It's not like you're wasting a whole lot of time doing this. And as long as you like choose your targets wisely and you're not just randomly picking girls without any kind of signals, then you have nothing to worry about. There's no like, oh, you shouldn't do that there. Guys who say that just don't get chicks from the gym. They probably got called a creep or something and yeah, don't want anybody else doing it. But that's easy way to go about it. I hit on chicks all the time at the gym. Never had been reported. Never had anybody talk to me about being a creep or any of that. Because you use your common sense. You don't just randomly like ask out everybody. No, you just wait. Women will give you signals. Women will check you out. Women will work out around you. They do all kinds of stuff to, get you to notice them. So, yeah, use your discretion wisely. So, to conclude, is it your looks that's preventing older guys from, getting with younger women? No, as long as you've made yourself above average. And then when I see above average, I mean above average of every other guy. Young, old, doesn't matter. Okay? Whether you're a young guy, getting above average means being above average of everybody, every guy that you see. Okay? We don't have to like divide ourselves into, oh, this age group and this age group and this age group. No, you have to look good, look your best. And anybody can do this. Anybody can put in the work. You know, the gym helps, managing your body fat, the haircut, the style that you roll with, everything makes a difference. And once you get that locked in, you will look above average. So yes, once that is covered, then it's just a matter of exposure. And this is where a lot of guys like kind of screw up on. Either they have no idea how online dating works, or how to maximize their online dating profile so they're actually attractive to all different kinds of women, young, old, whatever. Then they really have a chance of success. Then they really have options. And if you can cold approach, if you can see young women that are, looking at you, you can approach them, you can talk to them. Then you have options. Then you have something to really build off of. And you can be one of the few guys out there that dates women half their age, has relationships with women half their age. You got to be the guy that puts himself in that situation and then acts on it, which is the tough part. The tough part is getting over that fear. Like, oh, what if this happens? What do I say? What if I'm too old? What if she says I'm too old? It's going to be devastating. You got to get over that. Okay, the odds are maybe she says it, but she'll be super polite about it anyways. Who cares? This is how you win. This is how you're never going to get this, the coveted 18 to 25-year-olds that are in the prime of their life by being scared and worrying about, oh, am I too old to do this? If you're scared and you refuse to take your shots, then you can relegate yourself to the passive role of taking whatever you can get at your work or wherever you go to potentially meet a woman. And yes, she may not be the best of what you're capable of, but at least it was easy for you, right? But if you're willing to go through the, maximizing what you have to offer and then putting yourselves in these environments and acting when you have opportunities present themselves, this is how you become one of those guys that you see that with very young women that are half his age. And it's very rare. I very rarely see this out in public. In fact, I'm probably one of the only guys out there. But yes, it is possible. You can make this work, but you got to take your shots. Again, it all boils down to exposure ultimately. Like my friend asked, where did you meet this chick? Okay? You have to get in these environments. You have to fish in these waters. If you're fishing in waters where all the fish are old, no young fish around, no little minnows around, you will never catch any of the minnows or any of the young fish. That's just how it is. You have to put yourselves in environments where there are lots of them. There are lots of young women. And if there is a lot of them, some of these minnows are going to find you attractive. Hey, those are the ones you can catch and have a fantastic relationship. Some of those relationships are so cool because you can actually be a mentor to women. Because I'm a mentor to most women, doesn't matter what their age is, but to the really young women, they can really use a little bit of stability, emotional strength. And yeah, that's what you provide as the older guy. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you need help doing this, putting yourselves around these women, maximizing your dating profile, maximizing your look so you actually look attractive to the women in their prime, that's exactly what I help guys do. There's coaching links down below if you need help doing this. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thank you for watching.